Hi, and welcome to Nollywood Film Club. I'm Mr. C, a Viroko critic. I hope you're doing well. Oh my goodness, we are talking about a film, first time in a long time. And this is a Prime original, so it is very much available for you to watch on Prime right now, wherever you are. I believe that's how Prime originals tend to work. And please do like the podcast, follow us if you can. If you have comments, feel free to do that as well for the podcast. Rate it if you can. I won't waste too much time. I'll just allow you to enjoy the sweet discussion, the sweet nectar of Nollywood Film Club discussing suspicion. Welcome to Nollywood Film Club. We do discuss Nollywood movies sometimes. Most of the times these days we are discussing topics, but today we're discussing a Nollywood movie in suspicion. We'll talk about what we don't like. We'll talk about what we like in the good. We'll talk about what we don't like in the bad, and we'll disagree with each other where appropriate in the pushback, and then we'll give a tight summary at the end. So if you don't want to come up to discuss it, you can just comment and we'll read your comments below. Income, what did you like about Suspicion?
Wait, did you watch?
Can other people hear Income?
Nope.
Oh, Income, sorry. Can't hear you. All right, Income is gone. Alana, do you want to tell us what you liked about Suspicion? Alana, Anchor might be back. Anchor,
now?
yes. Okay. All
Okay.
right.
Sorry. So yes, the movie. What I liked about the movie, I like that it's like a blend of genres, and I actually think that the writing was was solid. You know, it showed very much that this person knows what they're doing, because they did answer almost all the questions that necessarily needed to be answered. And I thought it was quite entertaining. I mean, did they use a lot of like slow mo? But that's okay, you know. So I thought it was a fun movie. I thought it was pretty good with like the writing. I thought it was an entertaining movie, you know. So it was a good movie. It wasn't bad. And I also like the fact that he tried to make it. Oh, sorry. I like the fact that he tried to. I like some of the grading. Like I like the way some of the movie looks. Is it? What is the thing? I think generally it was a nice watch. I didn't have really too much complaints, and I thought it was so much so much ahead of something that we've been receiving recently. And I think it was good, and I think this is a good direction, and I think it set out to do what it wanted to do, and I was entertained. It's good. I'm
All
not
right.
mad.
Thanks, Inka. Alana, do you want to tell us what you liked about Suspicion?
Yeah, I liked the movie. I thought it was a fun watch. I liked the idea behind the whole juju thing, like supernatural powers from black magic, and I liked the infusion of that. I liked the what do they call it, fight scenes? Yeah, I liked the fight scenes. It was somewhat realistic. It was a nice way to kick off the movie. The adrenaline was really nice, so I enjoyed that. I like the VFX, the use of VFX, special effects thing. The scene where that old man is explaining to Voke's character about how like when he was retelling the story to Voke, what happened to Robert and all that. I liked how they used the VFX in that scene. It was fun. It was almost like I was watching a different movie in that moment. And I liked this person's performance, Tinamba's performance, with the scene where it was this whole, oh, should I let him know how to transport himself? It's going to take some time from your life. Like the whole emotional breakdown that she went through, I enjoyed that scene. So in general, compared to like it was a good watch compared to what we've seen this year. It was a nice watch. I enjoyed it.
All right. Thanks, Olana. Jeremy says what I liked. The premise was different from the usual fare. Oh, interesting. All right. Vanessa, what did you like about Suspicion?
That they spelled suspicion correctly. This is a personal thing because I just find that word unnecessary the way it is spelled. But sure, appreciate them for spelling it right. Um, yeah, Tinamba was nice in this. Did she play a mother again? Yes, but this time a mother with Juju, so wonderful. Tinamba was nice in this, so great to see Tinamba. Kaluke Agho is a sexy man, and I like seeing sexy men. What again happened? Oh, it was nice to see the guy who played King Otofokun, Abi Ofotok, whatever his name is, the guy who played the king in Africa Magic Rihanna. That guy, he was the one who played Onajite's father. It was nice to see him again. I had expected that I would see him more in a bunch of stuff after the AM show ended, but that's a completely different conversation about what the AM shows do for actors anymore. But it was nice to see him again. What again did I like? Yeah, like because some of the way the film looked, sometimes I liked some of how it looked. And the VFX wasn't knee bad, so woohoo.
Wow, what a bar to clear. I don't know why Nee is catching strays in this good section.
Because he likes to feel like he has literally proclaimed himself the king of VFX and animations in Nollywood. And every single time they're horrendous. He can't even get rain right. So what are we talking about?
Rain is his specialty.
All right. Okay.
Rain is his specialty. Cool.
All right. Jared, do you want to tell us what you liked about Suspicion?
Okay. Hi everyone. Good evening. Just before I go on, I guess this is the part where people talk about what they like, and then later we'll talk about what they don't like. Or do I just say everything, my full opinion?
No, your first one is right.
Just
Okay,
what
the first one is what you like. Okay, fine. Well, I think I didn't hate the fight choreography. I mean, I've seen worse. So I think the fight choreography was cool. Visual effects weren't bad. I liked Tina Amba's performance. Like Vanessa said, she mom again, yeah, but this was measured. I think Uche Chika Lumelu held her own in a scene. I think she was like the one person who actually got her pidgin intonation right. More on that later. So yeah. I also liked the lofty ambition of the film and the attempt to blend genres, the supernatural and action as well. Again, ambition is always nice. There'll be other conversations about how they went about said ambition. So yeah, those are the things
You guys are never happy.
Calm down.
And guys,
Calm
pushback
down.
section.
This is not
Relax, calm your
pushback.
nerves.
Calm me down.
But yeah, those are the things that were cool. I think this is a challenge role for Stan. I think he held his own to as much as he could. So yeah, those were the bits I liked about it. So choreography, visual effects, ambition.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Jerry. Just going to read second secondary global Vanessa's she says she likes the different spin on Juju. Tinamba is always a highlight in any film. That's about it. Wow, for me. Second sentence doing some perspective. All right. Madam 1230, we see you. Go on. Tell us what you liked about Suspicion.
Okay, hi guys. I hope everyone can hear me. Good evening, good day, wherever you are. I wanted to, okay, as soon as the movie started, yeah, this was even before I saw anything. I think this was the fight scene. I thought to myself, these are the films, or these are the kind of films that you watch and you feel like, okay, we are going somewhere in Nollywood. And I felt that way because of the editing and the fight choreography in those scenes or the beginning. I felt like that was really good. And moving on as the film progressed, I saw that the editing was mind blowing for a Nollywood film, I would say. The use of the kind of shots that were used, the camera movements and all of that, it was really good and refreshing to see. So that is one thing I really loved. Another thing that really worked well in the film was the music. So I loved the music and how it was used, the way it helped with the tension and the suspense and all of that. It was really good, and those were the two things that I really enjoy, because when I watch films, especially Nollywood films, I tend to look out for the technical aspects, because those are like the things I enjoy in films, and that did not disappoint me. I wasn't disappointed in the technicalities of this film. So I really wanted to get that out because it was really amazing to see what they did with the whole technical aspects of this film. So yeah.
All right. No, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Thanks, Madam 1230. Sorry, Atas. I completely forgot because he went off and he came back on. Atas, please tell us what you liked about Suspicion.
What is there not to like? This movie has everything. I think I like that this movie tells you what it is, what it's going to be very early in the movie, so you don't really get too carried away. I think as soon as he caught that bullet, I knew exactly what I was in for. And so I had a great time. Okay. This movie is not about the destination, it's about the journey. Like it was like at every point, I did not know what was going to happen next. I did not know why it was happening, but I had fun with the fact that it was happening. So yeah, it's about the friends that make along the way. I thought the premise was very, very unique. And I don't know, it probably had some variation of it that I don't know. It was a unique premise. I also very much enjoyed random juju, like everywhere, anywhere, for any reason or no reason at all. I liked Namba in this actually. Um, yeah, she's still doing the mom thing, but I guess maybe the added depth somewhat of her character helped here. Um, oh, I think there's so many sexy people in this movie. The lead actress, she was gorgeous in everything she wore. Um, but yeah, this movie had everything. Romance, old people romance, Shafi Bello randomly, action, brotherhood. I mean, what's there to say? It's a lot.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, Atas. Lots of people with comments. I'm going to go through the ones that. All right, let's go. Laulu says, love the movie. Only thing I didn't like was the powder transferring to your mom made Dada's face when Stanley got older. Good section.
Good section,
Good
man.
section. Stop sneaking it in. Gloria said, I liked the scene where Kalu, Mr. Tony said something about fucking someone up, mix of Igbo and English made me chuckle. Still Human says, yeah, I really like Tinamba in this. I think the mystery suspense was done well. I like the premise of the story. And Mui says, I like the Onajite character and Tinamba's character. And yeah, the VFX was okay. Lots of love for Tinamba. All right, Mrs. C, what did you like about Suspicion?
So, as mentioned, random juju. The juju was the point. And as a lover of random juju, I really enjoyed the juju being the point. I really liked the premise of this. I was telling Mr. C that this feels like Nigerian Constantine. Supernatural powers and using it to do detective work. I really liked that premise, and I feel like they really could have done a lot more with that. But I liked the premise. I liked Tinamba. I really liked Tinamba. I liked her character. Again, yes, playing mom again, we all said it, but she did really bring depth to it, and I did really enjoy her in it. I liked that the family was one Urobo family. Again, it was just nice to have another tribe being the forefront of a Nigerian film, not one of the major tribes. I enjoyed that the juju wasn't a bad thing. I enjoyed that juju just was, right? And you can use it for juju was played off like magic, right? When we watch Hollywood and we see magic, and it's something people can use for good or can use for evil. You give and you take and it gives, like The Witcher, right? It takes something from you when you can't create something with nothing or whatever. So I liked juju playing a role in this. I liked the premise of the brotherhood and of, going on some sort of quest, right? And trying to, how do I put it? Trying to move on with your life and then you get pulled back in. I liked that. I thought it was really violent, and I'm not so much for violence, but I also sort of appreciated that. I think it was the most violence I had seen in Nollywood in a bit, and because we tried to do violence, but we did a lot of shooting and all of that stuff, and we just had like violence, so, like people getting stabbed in the throat and stuff like that, and I thought that was interesting. I liked seeing them boil the kid and then shoot him, like the whole fortification, right? It's like an idea. It's like, oh, you fortify somebody. And when we're watching it with someone else, right? Because we've watched it before and we watch it with someone else. And he starts, I think when he starts taking the bullets out or something, and someone goes, and then she went, oh, he's going to pee on it. It's law, right? It's law. It exists somewhere. You piss on a bullet, it will enter somebody who's fortified. I enjoyed our Nigerian law being in there. I think I still have faith in Stan Nze, and I think there's a type of direction that would have really helped him bring so much to this role. The good is I have faith in Stan Nze, right? I could see bits where I could see him shine through in some bits, right? And I think there could be some direction that could really, really help him give some sort of performance that would be, also have faith in Uzuarukwe. Mr. C, I can't say the line. You're going to have to say the line for me. Kalu Kagu's line. Oh, love that line. Absolutely love it. But yeah.
Tell me who is fucking me up, keep fuck wire up.
Yes!
Yes.
I need out the t-shirt.
Yes.
Same. All right. Okay. All right. I read that. That's one of the things I enjoyed as well. Let's see. Okay. Let me go to my list of things that I liked. All right. So I've put in here it has a lot of great moments, and it's so, and that's right for this kind of film, right? It is. I called it a Juju Fu, almost kind of like John Wick's Gong Fu. It does have this has Juju and also I guess some Kung Fu in it. I'd have preferred a different type of fighting, but this is also fine. This works. And then but it has a lot of really good moments. The whether it be levity in terms of that moment where the guy that we're torturing, Uzarikwe opens I think you just hear actually him. You're seeing the torturer's face, and you just hear him open his zip, and the look on the guy's face, like, oh no, like the torture is about to begin again. I like little moments like that. We rarely get those in Nollywood, where somebody is doing, this kind of really cool filmmaking things where you don't have to write any particular. It's done without dialogue. It's done with action. Even when there's, some sort of cheesy things that work for me, was, I think this is part of like the stunts as well. Some of the stunts, this will be a car stunt. I know Tosin likes his car stunts, but I thought there was that bit where Omomi Chisom calls Stanley's character, and he's going one way, and he does this U-turn, and the way the camera moves into his face, and he's like, I'm on my way. That's like, we don't, it's almost cliche, but like, you should have that in an action movie. Those kind of things, we just don't get those in our movies anymore, which is very sad. But they have quite a few of these moments where I was like, I really enjoy this, and I'm really appreciating this. And this is the kind of filmmaking that we need to see more of. A lot of people have mentioned Tinamba, and yes, Tinamba is a highlight for me. And people have mentioned, yes, that she's playing a mother. It's a different flavor. It's just a different character than I've seen her play before. It doesn't matter. Everybody's somebody's mother in this life. But a lot of times, Tinamba has been playing the disapproving mother that has this tone about her. It's almost quietly wicked. And this Tinamba is just, she's not, number one, she's not disapproving. She's trying to protect. She's a protective mother, and it almost feels like this woman used to be an action woman not too long ago, and she still feels like she can do. It's like somebody has forgotten her age a little bit, but she still just feels ready to fight and throw hands at any moment. So there's something a lot more active about this performance from her, which I liked. I have in here a lot of the car stunts. Aside that, the one I mentioned earlier, taking one way, that's such a Nigerian thing, number one, and it's a cool stunt to shoot, and I liked the way that was done. We've spoken about, there's some good visual storytelling as well. This is tied up in the way some of the world building works as well, because that I know how another Nollywood movie would have done this, pissing on the bullet. Piss on the bullet. If you piss on the bullet, it will to enter him. They will say it out loud, that kind of thing. But there's a way Tosin decides to do it, or the way it's written and executed in this film, where it's done without being a bit more on the nose. And there's a little bit more like that. There's sometimes I wish they held back even a little bit from some more exposition, like that time where the knife goes at the back of his neck, and like they didn't say anything the first time. I was like, oh, they're doing it again. This is really taking. And then later on, he goes on to explain. I was like, hey, but I was watching with somebody and they didn't get it the first time. I was like, all right, I guess you're doing it for somebody like this person. But yeah, I enjoyed a lot of the fun world building that was in this. And obviously, I've said also a few people have said my favorite line in the film, done by Kalu. A few performances outside Tinamba were highlighting. Tinamba's husband as well. I can't remember who played her husband. I thought he was great for somebody who didn't have on set lines. The comic relief character I enjoyed. I thought he was used well. Just a little here and there, just a little sprinkle. And Onajite, the character, I thought that was Onajite was she did pretty well as well. So yeah, those were the things I enjoyed about Suspicion. So let's talk about the things that we don't think we liked. And Anchor, This movie must be perfect, given.
I never said the movie was perfect. What? The movie is not perfect. Okay, this is first of all my personal kind of hope that it did. But again, writers be writing whatever they want to write. If I want to, I wished. Okay, how am I going to say this? The content of the story, right, is like, what's it called? Private High meets meets crime drama and all that stuff. But there's also like just a basic other content of the story that I don't think something. It's a tragedy. It's a sort of like tragedy in it, right? Because the main guy was the main guy has to now find that his lover is the killer, and then he has to battle that sort of what's it called, internal something that he still loves her, but he has to do the right thing by all this something, and he chooses to do the right thing, and it's kind of like a tragedy. It has similarities to a Oedipus tragedy in a way. So because of that, I wanted him to, as he was aging, he made the choice to like, okay, I'm going to sacrifice for this girl because I love her. And then you find out something about the person you love that it just contradicts and goes against another value that you of somebody else that you love. And since he's making the sacrifice and he does it another time, so he becomes really, really old and is about to die. I wish they had gone with him dying. But then I know the type of also genre that this is in. You kind of don't want the main action guy to die, but I wish they had gone with that. I wish he had died in the end. I feel like that would have been a more complete story. But hey, we've got to have sequels. That's the way movies are done nowadays. So there's nothing else to say. What other thing? I think they didn't, even though they do have some of those thing like okay, urinate on it, and it does seem inspired by like old 90s movies where like the arm robber is gun proof, gun bulletproof Nigerian movies. But you can also see the American inspiration in it, which is also okay. But I wish that they had more of it's very superhero. There is something that I just like, it's very superhero. I still think they localize it, but it's still very superhero, and I wish they localize it a little bit more. What other thing? Maybe this is the thing that could have made it better. Better fight choreography. But I think for Nigeria it's good, and I think maybe for the money that they had and stuff like that. Like you're not going to have like China level fight choreography with Jackie Chan, something like that. Those you're just not gonna have it. It's not a inborn, what's it called, industry with us. It's also not an inborn industry in Hollywood, but they have the money to import it from Hong Kong and other space. But we don't have that money, so it's okay. But it would have made it better. Also, style wise, too much slow motion. Too much. Get it? Zack Snyder does that a lot. I'm like, maybe this guy also is inspired by Zack Snyder because damn, just a little bit too much. But for the type of movie it is, I get it. But at the same time, it's just like, Lord, that's a little bit too much. And a little bit too much shooting in the head. But does it take away from the movie? I don't think so. Yeah. That's one of the things I would say about it. Uh the privatize something, it works and it also doesn't work. And I feel like maybe they should have gone a little bit more slower because sometimes people nowadays don't have the attention span. And if something happens very quickly, people don't realize or stay or notice that has happened. So maybe the pace should have been a little tiny bit slower. For me, I followed, but like maybe a tiny bit slower because I had to pause and rewind for my cousin a couple of times. I'm like, that They said this and it this, and it was like, okay. Oh, it was like, oh, okay. So that is it. Those are some of the things, the bigger things. Other there are little other things, technical things, but hey, there's always something to fix in this life. There's
All
always
right.
something. Nobody's perfect, you know. There's always something to fix, as everybody will point out.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Oinko. Alana, what did you not like about Suspicion?
What do they call that thing? The old person makeup. I don't know what that was about. I did not get it. It it distracted me a lot actually the entire I kept on wondering why did they put that much why did they put that much powder on his face? So yeah, I didn't like that. San is a pigeon. In fact, the pigeon in general kind of puts me off. The pigeon kind of put me off, especially San is his own. I don't know. Did I say it sounded like it was being read? It didn't sound natural, and I had issues with that. Sometimes I'm like, did they have to speak the pigeon in this particular accent? So yeah, the language thing kind of hit my head a little. And yeah, I think those are my key things that put me off that I can recall right now. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Thanks, Alana. Vanessa.
I'll tell you why the pigeon sounded wrong. One, his name is Voke. How person wey your name be Voke no sabi speak pidgin? Because e not make at all. And I go tell you why e not make. Like people here right now. Every single person except for who get pidgin wey make sense inside this film. Perhaps on Ajite. The reason why the pidgin not make sense, and I'm assuming, is that when Nigerians write dialogue in pidgin, they don't write it in pidgin because again, most Nigerians don't know how to speak pidgin, except people who do as their language, in the South South. So when then they write the pidgin, they go first write am for English, eh? Then they will come say me then translate am inside pidgin. And na there the miscommunication go dey occur. Because as we know, with most Nigerian languages, and pidgin is a Nigerian language, whether we like it or not, things do not always have a literal translation. They do not always have a literal translation. And so when you take stuff that you've written in English and then you tell the people to translate it to pidgin, cross wires. Wires go cross. If the wires no cross, there's something happen. And again, number two, Staninze doesn't come across to me like someone who speaks pidgin in his day-to-day life. So he's definitely obviously doing this for the film and for the character being Voke. He did his best. It was bad, but he did his best. It was really bad. And every single maybe Tinamba as well. Maybe Tinamba's pigeon was the only other one that I thought was passable. You know, every other person I was like, how not they struggle. How they struggle. And it did a lot of the dialogue a disservice. And it was the writing. If they had just written it in pigeon, I think it would have had more weight. What else didn't I like about this? Guys, the meat of the the meat of the story, but it felt pointless. Emma Binu, it felt pointless. I'm so sorry, guys. I like the premise of a juju inspector or detective situation. Like, give me Alex Cross, but with juju powers. Like, give me that, and I think that would have been one a lot more fun, a lot more. Oyinka thought the pace was too fast. No, it should have been even snappier. I thought we dwelled way too long on a lot of things. At the same time, didn't dwell enough on some other things. I don't know. I don't know. The balance of it felt off. If it was snappier, it was quicker. Because as much as I get the Constantine reference, I also felt like there was a bit of an Alex Cross reference with like the part of Lulu being personal to him. Because for whatever reason, Alex Cross always has people coming for his throat, and it's a personal thing beyond him just investigating a crime. And I feel like this is a way that they could have found that balance where, okay, he's made this his full-time job now based off of what was happening. And it wasn't just like a weird little side hustle where said guy takes him to bars to go and tell someone that they're mixing their alcohol half and half. I don't know. If this was his full-time street job where like people called him as the local investigator, like make that his job. You tell us 4 years later, he's telling us in a voiceover, I've honed my skills. How did you hone your skills? I know we complain about Nollywood using montages to sometimes when we need a montage. I'm sorry, sometimes we need a montage. Tell us how he honed his skills. Because 1 minute he's gone to his mom to help him find Lulu. And then you fast forward to 4 years later and he's telling us he's honed his skills and he can just touch stuff. How did he hone his skills? Did he go to his mom? Did he practice by himself? What did he do? Make it feel like we were part of this journey of him honing his skill. And then you can bring in the personal bit. And I like the part of Rogba trying to free his daughter's spirit, but Rogba just dying like that. I was like, okay, I'm not really. And then yeah, cameos, guys. Why was Shafi Bello randomly in a bar smoking a cigar? And why was RMD somehow the bad guy, but like was wearing a disguise and then he's smirking at us from beside the tree? What's the deal, call? I
Mind your
swear.
business.
Now waiting at the ask when I finish the film. Mind you guys, I'm coming from holiday. This film hashed my mellow. This film hashed my mellow. I was on a great mellow, guys. I was chilling. I just come from the sun. I was enjoying my life. And then I decided to watch this film. And all I could ask was, for what? What was the reason? What was the point of all of this? Was all of this just to... I appreciate Juju as a character in this. All of that makes sense. I just didn't get the point of the story, man. It just, at the end of the day, it all just felt pointless. And them alluding to perhaps a second film, I don't know. It's just not. Yeah, I don't know, is what I'm going to say.
All right. Okay. No problem. Thanks, Vanessa. Vanessa does not know. If you do want to share what you did not like, please feel free. Drop in the comments. We'll read it. Wolf of Upper Iweka says, I didn't like the pigeon for the most part until Najite came in and saved the day. Most times the background actors just stood there waiting their turn to be beat up. Also, who was that Juju man that cracked his neck only to get stabbed in the forehead? All right. Yeah, and Aditi's pigeon was she's from it. She's from it. Okay, it's gonna be Otas and then Jerry and then Cam. Otas?
Um, okay. So this movie, the movie tries to do too many things at once. And does it's what Vanessa said, basically. It does a lot of wasting time on nothing, but then not spending enough time on the things that actually add meat to the story. And yeah, they just try to do too many things at once. The movie also it just has so many unexplained threads which just snagged at me the whole movie. Um, like there's a scene where the mom is talking about how this is her fault and she did it. She's the one who's caused something that's happening to him, and the dad is like, I told you not to do it. But it's like, do what? Like what happened? Was it the magic thing you did at the beginning? What did that do to him? Like what's going on? Um, like I wanted to know what happened to the mom that the dad had to travel to get her and how many times he had to do that because his agent was insane. Um, but yeah, so stuff like that bothered me through the movie where it just felt like they kept adding detail into it and the detail is neither here nor there. Um, what else? Oh my God, what kind of shitty daughter was Chisom that her parents only took one of their children and tried to escape? I did not understand why that happened. It was very it was very interesting because that story was interesting. That whole storyline was interesting. I wasn't sure. I'm not sure if I missed it because I wasn't sure why Rogba got murdered. I don't know if it was part of the RMD thing at the end because that kind of pissed me off. So I wasn't paying attention. So that might be it. But I didn't really understand why that happened. they never tell us what his other powers are as well. I was very curious about that. I think they tell us the one power that it shows up consistently through the movie, and then nothing else. So, but yeah, in general, honestly, the characters in this are just not great at their jobs. Shafi Bella's character is a weak boss because how can someone be stealing from you and still be able to walk downstairs to cause another fight? Like they don't respect her, and I could see why. Um, there's a lack of planning in this movie because I don't know why. I feel like two fights with men who are impervious to bullets. No one thinks to just carry a box of like piston bullets. It just seemed like no one was taking it seriously. So, but yeah, no, I had fun in this movie. I thought this movie was missing that random shooting arrow man from Sole. I thought that would have been perfect. But yeah, the magic was inconsistent, characters were inconsistent, the story was inconsistent. Amon's character has been sacrificing people but couldn't crack an egg. I don't know. All of it was fun. It was fun.
Wow. Okay. All right. Thanks, Atas. Jared, you want to tell us what you did not like about Suspicion?
Okay, here we are. Good evening again. First of all, I thought the dialogue was atrocious. Per the language, I think Vanessa has already made reference to the fact for someone who lived in Warri, I was almost offended because I think I've tweeted about this thing before. It reminded me of the horrible pigeon in Shantytown. Writers should learn to think in pigeon, not write in English and try to transliterate. Happy to offer that service for free. Anyway, so there was that, and even where this character was a writer narrator, so you're narrating in pidgin, next thing you're narrating in English, it was just very jarring and distracting for me. So it sucked the life out of the story. I felt some scenes could have been better written, especially the scenes involving Boma's character, Lekon. At some point, the whole thing felt a bit pointless. I feel that some of those scenes could have been woven better. I felt the pacing was also inconsistent. It was telling that Tinamba's character and the man who played Stan's dad had more chemistry than Stan and Omomi. Omomi, brilliant actor, but I mean, on a day, but she kind of struggled with this character. She seemed not to really get into it. Not per dialogue, not per language, not per acting. And I felt like the writers could have developed a character more. For someone who's very scheming, who was pivotal to some of the twists, I felt the character was a little flat. And I think another thing I didn't like was the main character, Voke. He's supposed to be this conflicted person, especially at the last scene where you want to help your best friend's daughter from having her soul eaten up, and then you have the love of your life on the other hand. They didn't show that conflict. There was, it just went straight, whew, stab that straight. There was no, they, they didn't show that kind of like a battle of the mind. He didn't seem hesitant. And I think what the writers could have done, they could have developed more of the parts that had the emotional. I think they spent a lot of time on the action and the visual effects. So I almost wasn't feeling enough emotion to root for the character or care about Voke or Lulu. I also feel like more could have been done with Robert's character. I refuse to believe that someone that important would just be wasted up. I'm hoping there's an explanation in the sequel because, yes, the film ends in some sort of cliffhanger that points to the fact that there'll be a part two, maybe part three, who knows? I'm just saying. So hopefully the writers take cues on do the rewriting the sequel. So yeah, so those are the things I didn't like.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Jerry. Cam, do you want to tell us what you did not like about Suspicion?
Okay, yeah, so mine was, I think everyone has said the same thing, monotonous acting. And I believe why people keep saying Onajite's acting was very beautiful was because she didn't just act with how she spoke, it was also in her body language, which was lacking in our main character and his female main character too. the whole experience while watching it, it was a roller coaster because this is a very ambitious and refreshing idea in Nollywood, and at the same time, I was excited about that juju story and the genre bending style, but at the same time, I was also bored. So I was going through this experience of loving it and then being so lackluster. It couldn't hold me. It wasn't really gripping, but I still saw the potential. And while people are complaining about the cameo of RMD, I did enjoy it because I think someone also alluded to that. I love the fact that Eshu is neither bad or good. It is at the hands of human beings and how they want to exploit it, just as they do with everything. But I was so confused about the Walker guy or RMD. I don't know who he is. I was very confused about that thing. It was jarring because throughout the movie it was a roller coaster of, oh, I am understanding this, and then sometimes I'm just like, huh? So it couldn't grip me enough. Why I was a spectator, I think a movie should be an experience, right? So as a spectator, I had so many times where I'm looking at the other side or like walking about to sort of forget some parts because it just couldn't. And his friend, again, that thing about emotion, he was very accurate. So he's going through a roller coaster of emotion whereby he has experienced loss and familial conflict of, an overbearing and overprotective mom. It's just I never saw any of the struggle on his face. I wasn't gripped by his expression towards it. His cognitive dissonance and his lover being the evil person, or the tragedy of losing your friend and your goddaughter. It just wasn't gripping enough. And there's this one scene I like. Again, I think I loved the background characters, some of them. AG, the man that spoke English Igbo, you could see the acting and you could see everything from the way he acted with his body, with his face, with his eyes. There's something just so funny about it. At the same time, it catches your attention. Same thing with Onajite, and even Onajite's dad to an extent. So I'm like, how can those people have like less than 3 seconds or maybe a minute of screen time, and then it's more captivating than the people who has been in my face throughout the journey. So it was a bit disappointing. At the same time, I'm so excited. It was so refreshing to see something of that premiere. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Cam. Um, Nollywood, Nollywood must change. Do you want to tell us? Well, you're here for the good. If you can give us a brief good and bad for you.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What I like about this movie, I think the most thing I liked about this movie was Tinamba's performance. I liked Tinamba's performance, the way she, you know, relay her emotions and all that. And I kind of like the power kind of thing where they communicate, where our husband, she and her husband were communicating. I kind of like that bit. What else do I like? Okay, I like the intention of this movie. Kind of, we really have juju fiction movie. Uh, when we have enough of juju fiction movie in Hollywood. We've been seeing juju films, but putting it in an action movie, in a big action movie like this, it kind of makes sense. The intention, yeah, the intention is not that bad because I like the intention. And what is, yeah, the energetic character you guys haven't seen, it's good. Yes, not, I think it's one of those performances that were better in this movie. Yeah, I think that's all I like about the movie. And talking about my bad, I think where I have issues with this movie at the end was like, why did Amawumi's character, why did she have to sacrifice the goddaughter? Because why did they have to go through all the houses? They probably do all those dramatics with the kidnappers to kidnap the goddaughter, because I don't get, maybe I missed that part. Like, what Was she supposed to? Sorry, was she supposed to?
He was a
Was she?
chosen. He was a
Hello, can you hear
chosen.
me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Was she? She was chosen.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I didn't get. Oh, maybe I missed that part. So I was just thinking maybe they could have kidnapped someone else, and and even the kidnapping, did they know that? Did she know that this guy had powers before then? That was why they came like that. Because later in the movie, she was like, "Oh, you didn't tell me about this, your abilities or whatever," she said. So, and this movie is so superficial. I think they could have done better with the writing. Kind of, it was lazy. It was kind of lazy. All of a sudden, there is voiceover. You didn't start with voiceover, and when the voiceover started, I went back again. Did I miss something? And then they started explaining things with voiceover. I was like, well, you didn't start this movie with voiceover, so why do we have a voiceover now? Who are you explaining to? So the RMD's character, when she said, "Oh, it is you," I'm like, who is he? Who is he? I don't understand. Is that Mawi's father or who is that? So I don't get that part. Maybe I missed something too. I don't know. I'm not sure. And then the fight sequence. Oh, I think they could have just done make it faster with the editing, kind of, because it was slow. People were waiting their turn to, fight. Even the villain, and I think we have this thing in Nollywood of not, being able to like make powerful villains, make our villains powerful. Like I just felt like, what am I supposed to do with? And then when they revealed about me is the villain, I was like, okay, is that supposed to be a big thing? Even the way this guy chased the other, at that sacrifice scene, the way he chased them away, people that they were supposed to be powerful, they didn't even fight back, they just ran. So I was like, okay, that's it. So the villains are weak. The villains are kind of weak in a way, and then the way the settings of his abilities, kind of, they said he had three abilities. I think I already saw two. He was able to, like, you know travel to somewhere. He was able to, like, see the kind of this thing, that the kind of weapons the villains use, kind of. So I think I didn't get the third ability, kind of. And then after his goddaughter was kidnapped and his friend was killed 4 years later, I don't know how he got in. I think he has an agent, right, that gets him deals. So him getting the exact deal concerning the goddaughter thing was kind of okay. Yeah, I think that was spirit. Okay, RMD spirit kind of was involved. So I think they could have done better with the writing in a way, because I wasn't the first the first watch that I had. I was not invested in it. That was why I was missing some things. I would just look away because it felt like I wasn't missing anything, kind of. But when I watched again, okay, I could connect a few dots, but it wasn't gripping. They could have done better with the writing. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thanks. Not even much change. I will mention for a few people, he is bulletproof. I imagine that counts as, I don't even know. Maybe that counts as
Everybody had
one.
that power though. Like that can't be it.
No, no. Not everybody did, actually. Not
Sorry,
everybody
my
did.
own about this multiple powers is his mother said, I don't know many people who have more than two powers. I was expecting her to say he had like 10, only for her to come and say you get three. I said, "Ah, only three." The, the way they are
No,
making
it's
it
special
seem
now.
like it.
It's special.
I'm making really
All right. Damala, did you have you weren't here for the good, if you want to give us your summary of how you feel about Suspicion.
I was actually just requesting the mic so I can ask questions maybe at the later sections and pushback or rounding up or
Okay.
whatever for
Okay.
questions.
All
Thanks.
right. Okay. All right. Mrs. C, do you want to the things you didn't like?
Okay, so the things I did not like about Suspicion. For one, I think this is actually one of the ones that should have been a series if they want to, have all of the all the extra bits and all the extra parts, I think this could have worked well as a series. I think, as I mentioned, Alex Cross, right? We could have had a series of this where we could have explored the backstory, we could have flashed back and forth. That's asking for too much, I know, but I think this would have been one of those ones that would have benefited from being a series instead of just a film. I don't want to see a sequel again. This would have been good as a series. If we'd had a series, then we can wait for season 2. But I feel like the way they rushed to make this a sequel in the end, I did not enjoy that. I did not enjoy RMD and that character and the, ooh, it was me all along, and the wink, and then watch out for part 2. That was very unsatisfying. I think, which I had slipped into my good, right? But I think this could have done with better directing for the actors and to really bring a lot of these emotions in. And I think a couple of people had mentioned this. And this goes back to me thinking this should have been a series, is we don't spend time, or they don't give me enough to fully build these relationships and get me invested in all of these things. Like, honestly, my primary investment was in Voke's mom and Voke, right? And her back and forth on whether she should give him what he wants, right? At the risk of potentially losing him, and the father being like, he's got to make his own decisions and blah, blah, blah. I didn't really have enough time to invest in him and Chisholm's relationship. I liked the idea of the brotherhood, but again, I didn't have enough time to invest in that relationship. They didn't give us enough time to sit with this whole side quest now of Lulu's soul suffering and him having to do what it takes to sort of save Lulu's soul, right? If we'd had time with him having to kill one or two other people, right, for the sake of Lulu's soul, until he meets the last person he has to kill, which is his girlfriend, right? And we have some time for them to have rekindled that relationship. Let's become invested in that relationship again, right? Show us some of that battle, that reluctance. Show us something, but we don't have that. So I don't have time to invest in that relationship. I don't have time to invest in that dilemma. I don't have time to invest in the mission to save Lulu's soul. I did not appreciate the evil face of Almidada's character was doing when she was like, let's sacrifice this babe together. I don't think there was a point for evil face. They just wanted to show that this person is being evil, but I don't think that was needed. We can get that somebody is trying to manipulate someone. Or we could have her believe this is just something she really has to do, and this is down to her life versus the lives of other people. And he makes that choice that, you know what, fuck it, I'm not going to choose you, and it's going to break me, but I'm not going to choose you. I think this film falls into a bit of a weird place for me this year, because on one hand, my bar is in the gutter for Nollywood this year. So which sort of helps this film. But I saw Wives on Strike 3 this year. So that harms this film for me in that I saw that, hey, we can land, right? We can get to the third act and we can land. We're not asking for too much to get to the third act and land. I'm not asking for too much for you to show me the complexities in these relationships. Like, there is some sort of situation in Wives on Strike 3 where it's a loyalty to one person versus loyalty to, it's basically choosing between two people you care about. But in that film, I feel the gravity of the situation. I feel the hard decisions someone is having to make. I feel it. It gets me. And I don't get it here. And that's sad. And again, I think this was a really great premise. I would love to see a series of this. I think this is where we typically struggle a lot in execution and in actually telling a story, not just having a good story, but developing that story and telling it. And I think this film really suffered there.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. C. All right. Things I didn't like. Well, I'll start with, I think for me, what is the biggest culprit in this is the editing. Somebody spoke here about the editing. Well, yeah, okay. And I think they said in the good section, I'm sorry, the editing in this, and Tosin does a lot of things, and I think he did some of the writing. I think he co-wrote it, he directed it, he did some of the cinematography, and he did the editing, or at least some of the editing. I can't remember. So maybe there's a lot going on, but I just thought the editing was a little all over the place. I think Vanessa mentioned how sometimes this felt both it was moving too fast and sometimes it was moving too slow. And I think, or actually, in fact, she wanted it to move faster, whereas Lincoln was like, needed to take its time, and both of them are right. And a lot of that is to do with the editings. It does have a lot it's trying to do as well. That would have probably fitted more to a TV series. It really is one of those ones that could work with. We could just go around watching him do his detective stuff kind of thing. But we have to establish backstories and a bunch of lore, and then we have to establish the twist and who there's a lot the movie is just trying to do at the same time. And then at the same time it will have edits where I think the one that sticks in my head on that second watch was they had just thrown they just shot Uzarukwe's character, and he's fallen into the river, and he's waiting. Stan is waiting for the search. He's come to hurry them up, and we just have a cut in the middle, and it fades to black, and then it comes back in, and we're still in this place, and I guess some time has passed. That feels like a waste of it just feels like a waste of a cut. It didn't feel normal. It didn't feel right. And there's just so many abrupt edits in there that just for me don't work and mess with the flow. Sometimes we're just cutting to, oh, all right, we're in this scene here. We're here now. And then so much of it feels abrupt in the editing. And I think that was a problem. Still on the technical aspect, the score, I hate the score in this, especially in the first half. Income mentioned how a lot of this felt little Marvel inspired, or the score is just stock action music in the beginning. And for a movie that is localized in almost every other way, to have such boring Hollywood action stock score it was sad. It was very, very sad, and it was annoying. And all that, the general music from, there are parts even where it's doing general, like, oh, we're Thriller now. Oh, this is Thriller. And I'm like, oh, stop it. I wish we could do something with some more of an instrument. It's just weird having, all this juju going on, and you're doing all this weird action, Hollywood type score. And then in addition, I wish, I think I mentioned this a little bit in the good, I wish we didn't do Kung Fu. I wish we did some kind of, it's difficult. I don't know where I don't know how to do it, to be honest. We just need to do a fight that just doesn't look like they were doing Kung Fu. I don't know how we do it, but we could have done it. People have mentioned the pigeon, especially Stan's one, because Stan is the protagonist. If Stan killed this role, a lot of people come out feeling so much more different about this, right? That's what I feel. But he didn't kill the role. I don't think he's bad in it, but he didn't kill this role. And I'm not sure what the reason is, whether it's a little Stan's, a little Tosin, or maybe it's a combination. It's a bit of both. But I wish I wish Stan had killed this role, because sometimes he's looking like he's doing a pose and it just doesn't work. He's doing like, oh, I know I'm in a movie type thing. And again, this is that type of movie where some of that should work. It just didn't work in so many places. And it just felt like Stan was too aware that there was a camera there, and he felt like he was sometimes doing things for the look as opposed to being the character. And that sort of takes away from a lot of the things that I was trying to enjoy. And then people have mentioned again Omomi Dada's character. I don't think she does badly in it, but I think if she killed it and if we bought into that romance, this does so much better as well. Because that last decision where he has to, it means something. Because like when I was like, all right, kill her. She's clearly not a good person. Do her now. And then like Mrs. C said, she does an evil face just in case you went completely bought in that she should die. She's like, yeah, no, definitely should kill me. But yeah, those were my main gripes, my main issues with it. And if we want to go into pushback now, anything that anybody disagreed, I guess like I have a general disagreement with a lot of things, and it doesn't really mean anything, because I think a lot of the critiques are valid. I just don't think they touch a lot of my general enjoyment of this film, though, because I just think it's one of those. I think I'm a little close to a task where it feels like it's one of those films where just I'm here. We're here for a good time. And I think the places where it doesn't hold up sometimes is where it takes itself a tad too seriously as well. But I think it's generally here for a good time. And yeah, definitely there are loads of places and a lot of things people have said about the story and the script I agree with. But like, I think it's that kind of movie where I was like, oh yeah, this is the one. Because especially because of those moments I spoke about earlier, that's what this kind of movie should have. That's what I'm here for. I'm not actually here for the best story of all time. Like I said, the big issues I have with it is that if Stan had killed his role, if I bought into that romance a little more, I think I wouldn't have cared a lot more about a lot of the other story issues that people have. But that's my half pushback. Ainka, what did you want to say?
So my pushback is like, I agree. This story is not necessary. The movie is not necessarily what's it called? That's why I just said it was a good movie, rather than it was the best movie ever made. It was an entertaining enough movie to just watch and just watch. But my pushback is on sometimes. I think most times in movies, people always seem to say, "Oh, the script is lazy," and usually,
Is someone
if
talking?
you
Because I
ask,
can't hear anything. Sorry.
I am talking. You can hear.
No, Dama, somebody's speaking. Sometimes this happens, so I'll let you know when she's finished. Ainka, go on.
Yeah. So I was like, the thing is that sometimes in movies, people just go, "Script is bad. Script is something. Script is." It's usually not. I'm not going to say sometimes the script is, but sometimes it's not necessarily the script. It's necessary how it's presented, because remember, it is a visual medium. You can have a script that writes, if you listen to the dialogue, the writing that the writer actually writes, there's some things, yeah, sure, the writer should have probably have more emotional moments to connect us with the best friendship and all that stuff. Sure, all those things are valid. But if you hear the writing and what the dialogue is telling you, it's different. This writing is not, I particularly don't think it's that bad, because even the female character, she says it during the time where they're eating and all that stuff. She literally shows to people that indeed she values money and comfort. Yes, for reasonable reasons. For reasonable reasons. Like they give us reasonable reasons, like good motivations for why she did what she did. It's the performance of it and the presentation of it that it doesn't something go completely, that doesn't present it well. And I agree. At the same time, this movie is moving too fast, and at the same time, it's too slow. Right? That's editing and directing. And sometimes people blame actors. Oh, it's a visual medium. The director is there. You can see the cut before we get the cut. You can see how the camera is taking it. You're supposed to be there to direct the actor. You're not directing the actor. And
Yeah.
also,
Oinko, sorry. What are you pushing back against? You've got to be.
I'm pushing back against people saying that, oh, the script of this writing is like, okay, oh, it should have been a better script or better liaison or something. I think I think more of the problem is not necessarily the script, because I think the writer wrote what the writer wrote, and the writer kind of got everything. If you listen to what the characters are saying and everything, kind of. The one about the three something, I think that was a leftover from them not realizing that they changed the world building the world building about something. I think that was like magical western something, because the guy didn't have three something, and they are doing abilities up and down anyhow. So your world building about your rules for magic here is not working. It's not completely in tight. That one. But I think the issue that this movie has is not necessarily like they have a weak script. It is that the presentation of that script in translation to the visual medium, the visual choices that the director made is the issue. Is more of the problem than it's not. It's more of the problem. I'm not saying that the writer couldn't write better, but it's more of the problem. That's my pushback.
Okay.
And I think people just easily just go against like the writing and the script. It's not that. It's like sometimes it's just the directing and the editing and the visual way that they form it.
Why
Okay.
can't it have multiple problems?
Yeah, like
Because in my opinion, it has multiple.
I literally just said that it is more of it, which
No,
means that it has multiple
no.
problems.
Oh, you can't. No. Oh, you can't. Oh, you can't. Oh, you
Sometimes it
can't.
can be
Literally
the
just
right
said
thing
that.
and it's okay. Sometimes
Oh,
the
you
right thing
can't.
can
You
be
cannot use
ass.
both.
I
Oh,
said
you
it
can't
I
duro no. Oh, you
literally just
can't
said
duro
it
no.
is
You can't
more
duro
of
no. You
something.
can't
That
duro
doesn't
no.
mean literally in that
You
sense it
cannot
is
use no,
multiple
but no,
problems.
no,
I
no.
just
Oyin
think it's more
kan
I just think it's more of the
sọ̀rọ̀. Kí
problem.
ló dé?
So no, you just asked me why can't you
Yeah,
have
but
multiple problems?
Oh, I haven't done that in a long time. All right. Okay. All
can I
right.
speak?
I think.
Out.
Oh, wait. That was.
kind of reply to Victor,
um,
I think, is actually wants to speak now.
I didn't
I don't
even
know
do.
why you do that to me. I'm just saying.
I did.
I don't know why you do that to
Hey,
me.
I did that to everybody. Everybody was speaking
I'm
at the
just
same time.
defending myself because
But
like
because
I
I
was
let
like,
No.
you
oh no, I
speak, Oyin
literally
I
said
let
it is
every.
multiple.
The beauty of the mute button. We can't
You better
we
stop.
can't speak.
You can speak, Vanessa. I'm just replying to you or something about that. You can speak.
Hey,
But I
wait.
waited for you to finish before I reply to anything you said, so you can let me finish.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I was actually going to say that somebody can think it's a script, somebody else can think it's the directing. That's just two people think different things about what you saw, and that's fine. There's no you can't argue somebody else's point for them. Except you can't argue somebody's perspective. If what they found was the writing was the issue, you're free to say it. If what you find is in the directing, you're free to say it. That's what I was going to say. All right. If
Can I
nothing
say
else,
what I wanted to say?
go ahead then.
I just find it a bit. What is the word I'm trying to? Everything that I wanted to say now has removed from my head. Don't kinikota so bad. I just find it a bit pointless to make the caveat at the end where it's like, oh yeah, it can be both. If you're saying this is a pushback to people's points, if your pushback is that people cannot say that the writing is the problem, then don't come and say it's half of the problem. If you're pushing back against people saying it is the writing, then push back, stand in it and push back and say this is the directing. But at the same time, somebody else can push back on your pushback and say it is multiple things wrong at the same time. But you cannot come and caveat at the end of it and say, yeah, it's both. So how's that a pushback then?
All right. Okay. There's a pushback section.
I didn't caveat it was from the very
Pushback
beginning.
section, just in case anybody else was confused. Nollywood must change. Moving on.
Okay. I I think I don't want to push back to what Oyinkan had said. I just wanted to push back, but since like you guys have said, because if this movie, I never felt anything for the the godchild, goddaughter, or whatever. I never felt anything, and then you told us the power that kidnapped that child is bigger than what Voke's mother could see. Then how could Abaomi's character was unable to know that Voke had powers if her power was bigger than that? Is the writing is the problem is one of the problems in this movie, and it's the biggest problems of this movie because they never set up their world and they just wanted to give us plot twist to all these how would I say it? All these game moments. Do you understand? So is the writing that the biggest issue?
She could be
There's
lying. She could be
and the
lying. They've
characterization.
already said she's a villainous character. She could be lying that she had a problem with the
She
magical
wasn't
tokens.
lying because what she saw them taking the
Okay.
girl away and she didn't know where they took her to. She wasn't lying. Do you understand? At that moment, she wanted to help him, but she saw the girl, but she didn't know where they were taking her to.
Okay.
So they set up words that really don't make much sense. They couldn't, they created word and they couldn't, translate those words into a great conflict. And they couldn't create powerful characters. Even our lead character was kind of just one note. His performance was rigid. And I realized that it's the characterization and the way it was directed, actually. So it's the writing, it's the way it was written. I couldn't feel his connection. I only felt his connection with his mother, with his parents, a little bit, kind of. But with the goddaughter, his friends, I was like, nah, I'm not buying this. So it's the writing. The writing is one of the problems, actually. This has a weak writing.
All right. It started with I'm not going to push back on you and went straight to this thing that we have covered. All right. We've already said some people are going to say it's going to be right. Right, we get it. All right. Okay. All right. Adas.
Oh, I just wanted to point out to everyone that there's a whole Succession subplot in this that no one is talking about. They're kicking me out of my father's company. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, that's neither here nor there. I just really wanted to say it.
You know what? Like, yeah, that is another part of this film that feels a little almost disjointed in the way it was put together. There does feel like, and I don't often have this feeling when I watch Nollywood, is that it feels like there was a lot left on the cutting floor. Like there was a lot more. And sometimes it's good because it feels like, oh, these people are more than what we're seeing on the screen. And sometimes it doesn't feel intentional. It feels like that part was supposed to be in the film and somebody took it out because of reasons. So I definitely felt that in whilst I was watching this movie. One thing I'd say in addition is that I think I remember is Tosin's last film, is that called Seven, or I don't know what is his last film, but the one he certainly did this movie I think called Seven, and it also is part of has this I think it also is part of the Nollywood action genre, but it was a very simple story, and I think that was easier to execute. This one was, because you're doing some world building, this one was more complex, and I just think it wasn't all executed well. There were a bunch of things that didn't work out as well as they should have, especially with the pacing. It was not my favorite. I already said the editing big parts. Big issue for me. Nolly Critic says if you don't understand the film, you should probably give it a rewatch. Vake's powers, invisible to metal, spotting or discovering juju which he used during investigation and teleportation. and the whole escapade was just about getting Voke to sacrifice to RMG's character. The details were subtly sprinkled in the plot. Yeah, yeah. I just remembered. I made a joke the first time we were watching this film that to Mrs. C that Voke has dead siblings because of the way his mother tested his fortifications. Like, one probably didn't work. I made as a joke, and then I think later on they allude to Tina Mba alludes to yeah, the only picking why I don't know whether she's regretting some of those children she shot in the fortification, unsuccessful fortifications.
Yeah, maybe some children got shot without being fortified. Hence why she decided to fortify this one.
It's possible. You see, but that's one of those ones that I thought was interesting texture, where that made me think. It's just that
can explore.
Yeah, but yeah. Anybody else have any more pushback? All right. If no more pushback, let's do summary. Anka, do you want to give us your summary?
Yes, sorry. The thing wasn't opening for me. Yeah, my summary. Yes. Same thing. It's an okay movie. If you on a Sunday night or whatever.
So sorry. I had it wasn't pushback, but I had questions, and I don't know if that's in the summary.
Go ahead. Let's do it before we do the summary. Sorry, you can just give us.
Sorry about that. I had to leave, so
I had
to re-request. Hi everyone. Didn't finish the movie, so I don't have good and bad. But I wanted to just ask a couple of questions just based on what I'd heard today. So, one was I heard a couple of people talk about how Nollywood writers need to learn to write in pidgin because writing in English and then translating over to pidgin isn't really working. So I'm just I wanted to interrogate that a little and just hear from people what that kind of means because like in my head, so for example, I understand pidgin pretty well. Like even when I'm hearing deep pidgin, I can understand what is being said. I don't think my pidgin is that great. I didn't grow up in Warri. I barely grew up. Like I had a little bit of a sheltered childhood. So I learned pidgin probably from secondary school and stuff. So it's not great. But if I was writing a script, I'd probably write in English and then want somebody who I felt had some sort of expertise in speaking pidgin. I would probably call a friend or someone who I know, grew up in Warri and can speak like deep pidgin so that I can kind of get that. But is that a kind of an inferior method of writing? Do you have to learn the pidgin before you can then write it? Like, where is the issue? Is it in just the translation or is it in the actual writing? That's my first question. Should I go to the second one or just kind of let? Sorry.
Yeah, I would say do all of them. And
okay, yeah. The second and third are kind of related, to be honest, because I did hear, there was some pushback about, it's the writing, it's the directing, blah, blah, blah. There was a bit of discussion about that, and I'm kind of wondering, just wanted to hear from people who, for them, would be the absolute GOAT director when it comes to directing actors. And specifically, if anyone can give an example of maybe a conversation that they've heard or maybe they were told about, maybe from an actor friend or something that a director had with them that they felt was like, this is a truly exceptional conversation. It's an exceptionally good conversation between a director and an actor. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of works and what doesn't. If you guys can help me out. Sorry, and if that's for like a different club session.
That audience, I don't know. These people here are miscreants. I don't think these are the people you're looking for filmmakers. But I guess
there are filmmakers here. It's all good. Martini is here. Eva is here.
Okay. I don't know. I guess I can maybe do the pidgin. I guess what I think, but don't take anything. In fact, you should not take anything anybody here says as gospel. It's just somebody's perspective. But I would think for Pigeon, I think what people have a problem with is that it almost feels like somebody is translating the dialogue like in turn by turn. So, oh, you said hello, so therefore how far? And then this person, where you wrote it in English, a full flowing conversation, and you're just translating them like dialogue by dialogue. Where I think the best thing would be for somebody who does understand Pidgin is to read the dialogue, explore what you're hoping to achieve, and actually, well, this would, and actually rewrite that part. So rewriting the whole thing, because I think what I guess some people are sensing is that the dialogue, there's a way Pidgin, if you speak Pidgin, like somebody says something to you, or because of what they said, there's a way you would respond. And if you're just doing a direct English interpretation of it bit by bit, you're not going to get the same thing. I think that's what people are probably alluding to. I don't know, in terms of good directors, do you want to say something, Mr. C?
Yeah, I think what I wanted to say about the Pigeon is thinking in the language. So if you think in a language, then it comes out differently than when you think in English and then translate it to the language and then try to put it out there.
I guess the question he's asking is like, because for him, right, like he doesn't speak it like the conch one like that. Like if he doesn't speak, like you write it in English and then
then it's going to be a problem, right? If you want to write
that's why I said it's got to be the whole
it's got to be the
patch.
whole thing. Yeah, you have to then bring in someone who does speak proper Pidgin, and then you need to have these as conversations. Because if you were to make a film, if you don't speak French, right, you're not going to write a French film. And I think we all assume because Pidgin is a Nigerian language, right? We think we can write it in English and then just do a quick translation. If you wrote a French film in English and then had it translated, it would show in when the French speakers speak it. And we need to respect Pidgin as a language on its own as well.
All right. Anybody else have anything else to add before we go to summaries?
For the acting thing, right? Just look at what's it called? Whenever you're recording your thing, there is a screen that shows you what you saw.
Sorry, Inko.
And what you did.
Inko, sorry.
Okay.
Damala, can you hear Inko before?
I can.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Yeah. There's a screen that shows you, like, this is just basic. Sometimes we overcomplicate things. If you see that it's not giving you what you need, or it's not expressing, the actor is not expressing the thing that it needs to be expressed, re-record it, reshoot it, make another shot. It's that simple. Tell the actor, okay, the actor can go back and view, and you guys can view that and be like, okay, this is maybe what I need to do. This is the kind of thing I'm asking for. This is this. Just say that, and then the actor should hypothetically know how to do it. We shouldn't necessarily just overcomplicate it. What happens is that you see the acting, you see what is recorded, and people just put that in.
All right. Okay.
That's just strange. It don't overcomplicate things. Like you don't, like what conversation? Oh, you're supposed to be crying. Oh, the way you talked in this, it doesn't match. Come and see it. You see, no, this is what we kind of want it to be. Okay, go back. Let's reshoot this thing. That's why it's a movie. It's not, you're not a theater. You have the ability to reshoot.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's move on to pinch of salt. Like I said, by the way, pinch of salt. Anka, give us your summary for Suspicion.
My summary for Suspicion is simply that it's an okay movie. It's a simple action, regular thriller type of movie. Don't have more expectation than it. Once you see 45 person out of nowhere, write it. But again, on a whatever day you have off and you just want to watch a movie, watch it. Give it 30 minutes. If it ain't gelling with you, it ain't gelling with you. There are multiple movies in this world, multiple TV shows in this world. Go watch one of them. That's it. You decide whether to watch it or not.
All right. Thanks, Inka. Atas.
I had a great time. I watched it one time, loved it. Watched it the second time. Honestly, the second time I was just as confused as the first time, but I had fun. So, yeah, don't worry too much about where you're going to end up. Um, just kind of enjoy the trip. Like it's great. It's amazing to watch. Stuff was just happening. I really, really love the juju and the magic. I have no complaints there. Um, honestly, great film. I'd watch it again.
All right. Thanks, Atas. Nollywood must change.
I love the idea of juju fiction, kind of. But I'm not excited with this movie. I it really couldn't keep my attention because I was just like not bothered about any of the characters. I didn't care about any of the characters. But I would like to see maybe a series of the main character, doing some stuff, some investigation stuff, doing using his life. But I don't want plot twists. I don't want some stories, kind of just it should just be like a series, you know. That's all.
All right. Mrs. C, give us your summary.
It didn't feel like a waste of my time. I did really enjoy the premise. I wish they had done a better job developing it, but it wasn't a waste of my time. I'm not mad I saw this.
For me, I enjoyed quite a bit of it. It's not by. I'm always chuffed. I'm always a little happy when at least we have a film that is doing something, at least faulting in more interesting ways than the ways I think we've been repeating. Or at least if you're gonna fail in the script, at least do something filmmaking wise. I think this does a lot of things right. Filmmaking wise, I just wish it had a stronger lead performance. But I still like this, and I imagine a lot of general audience members will like it too. But it still has we still have a way to go, because even in things like the stunts, a lot of the things that I praised, they have moved Nollywood forward in terms of filmmaking wise, but they're not scratching the surface anywhere else. But it's for us, I guess, at this point. For us, we can. I thought we've put one step forward in the right direction here in the action genre, and the world building as well. I want to see what he does with a different story in this world. I just wish it was a little smaller, as opposed to, as plot packed as this one was. But I enjoyed the general gist of this film. Okay, all right. Yeah, we did it. We spoke about a film. Well done, guys. We might be back to hangouts for a bit. We'll see what's going on. But thanks everybody for stopping by. Thanks for the people who listened. Give Suspicion a watch and share with us your thoughts. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed listening and would like to join live, just follow us on Twitter at Iroko Critic and join us every Sunday, 6 p.m. West African time on our spaces.